Good evening, everybody. I was just going to kind of come out a little bit and uh, and I was going to talk about a few things. Like I said, a lot of this is just repeats. But like I said, I there ain't much anything better to do. But you know, uh, my wife and I, today we had a pretty good day and everything. And at one point today, she wanted to take the ring up there, and and that we showed you the other night. And I told her, I said, well, if you take it up there, you'll get. And and I was telling her, I said, if we bought it, originally I bought that one for her, but she wanted to give it to you know, this, if we ever found a unicorn bestie and everything, and we still got it. But she had second thoughts about it again today, and she kind of flip flopped back and forth. And I eventually I said, "Well, you won't quit bringing it up. We'll just take it up there and get you some money out of it." Oh, you Derek, you'll cry and I'll cry. I said, "Well, you know, I probably wouldn't have this time. I mean, because like I said, it hit me like a ton of bricks last time, and I told her I wouldn't have sold it unless he give me, I was hoping she'd just, but money's money to her, and she probably just lit up like a Christmas tree when she saw that he was going to give her $100 for a ring that I paid, $700 for. Um, but anyway, 721 tax. You know, well, it was 642, but with tax at 721. But anyway, I said, and she said, both of us will tear up and cry. I said, you know, and oh, it's an invest thing. I don't care. Lord, I can't do it. I can't do nothing about them drivers. Uh, but you know, all I've got is just basic stuff. It's lasted me a year, so hey, I'm doing the best I can do with it. You know, yeah. If it, I took some stuff off of it the other day. A lot of the games we don't play on it. Help fasten it up. I don't know why they have to have everybody paying money for it. It ought to be free with your computer when you buy it. Have a way you wouldn't have to pay nothing. Have a special something where your computer they get updates or something. I mean, they do that basic stuff, but they ought to have something where fella pays for a computer, which I bought this one for $300. This one was cheaper than the one I bought. Oh, let's see. What was it? Lord, I bought. Let's see. Well, school bought me one. It was $700 with their funds. They had a fund thing they were done, and then I bought one after that one about 2 or 3 years after I graduated. I still paid about 500 for it, and I bought this one for $300. You know, and I should have bought a second. I should have bought two actually, but I didn't. I didn't think. But no, I've just got to where I look at. at this unicorn bestie thing as a thing that, yes, me and my wife agree. It'd be something that we'd like to have and we'd love to have it happen. And we'd love to be able to have that special somebody in our life and in our heart, and somebody we could do the simple stuff with and likes a lot of the same things we do. And yes, it's not a thing that every couple out there, 90% of them probably don't want to fool with, and probably wouldn't, and their religious beliefs and everything else gets in the way. They probably wouldn't offer what we're offering. But there's a good portion of people. What percentage is out there? They are. If you look on certain sites, there's a lot of people offer that's looking for the same sort of stuff. It just depends on what the person is, what they're actually looking for in the actual offer. If they're wanting it to be just a benefit to them, and they'll stay as long as you'll keep paying for their stuff and money to them or whatever. Ours is different. It's, hey, if you'll come, on your own accord or something, and if you get here, we'll be glad to give you clothes and food and take care of you. As long as there ain't no rowdy kids and there ain't all that sex drama and all that other mess, like with the one we had here a little over a year ago. Like I said, had it been 5-10 years earlier, I bet we'd have been fine. I almost know certainly that Susan one would have worked out had my wife and I met her years ago. Problem is, when we met her, she had all this crap she cared more about and had her feet already stuck in a lot of stuff that she herself won't acknowledge unless you back her into a corner and keep trying to get it out of her. She'll kind of come out with it eventually and tell you the truth. And like I did a couple times. When I kept, eventually sometimes I just got up and I walked into another room. But sometimes I was trying to really get her to say, hey, this is not right. You should take the blame for your bad choices that you made. You did to yourself. It's not me or my wife's fault. But anyway, no, I just, when it comes down to it, I can't guarantee happiness for nobody. Unless you're talking about me and my wife, and that's, and like I said, we're not happy, 100% of the time, at this place and this kind of place we're at, and this whole, we're in, and all this stuff. It's like I said, there's a lot there, but we make it do. And like with the other person that I mentioned earlier, she just wasn't very, like I said, she's accusing us of things that she was actually doing to us. But she was just, and I wasn't trying to stop her from seeing her friends or whatever, but she just openly started coming out with this stuff, and I didn't really even ask. She just started, it just rolled right off her tongue. It's like, hey, you're gonna let me go see this? You're gonna let me go do that? Me and my wife are at the ages where we don't want something part time. We gave up a lot to get, to get this. And yes, we love to give that ring to some lady that really would like to stay with us and be with us full time and live with us and have the same feelings for us as we do for that person, and be able to say, hey, I don't care what happens to the rest of our life, that's it, you know. Something happens to you, I'm not gonna replace it. And that's what this thing would mean to us. And I know if it's out there, I know she'll come. And I know whether it's, and like I told my wife, and I'll say this a little different, but I'll say this for myself and my wife. I'm the one that mostly, if not all the blame, pretty well goes on me. We had a couple teases down here. We had Felicia's, and we had some of the people from the apartments up there just trying to throw herself kind of on us and put their stuff on us. And although Felicia, she wasn't that bad. It's just that she was with Bonehead, as I call him Bonehead, but Old Dakota or whatever, Uh, and he wasn't paying much attention to her, so she came down here, and she actually liked our music, was, and stuff. And I remember the night that she kind of acted like, she did in front of me and my wife a little bit. At the time, you got to understand, my wife and I didn't have this thing planned out. We didn't know that we wanted this or that it would come to this, but our families got worse over time. Like I said, had Felicia been available had she been available 4, 5, 6 years later, same deal, but with nobody with her, I probably would, me and my wife probably would have jumped on it and took her in. We'd had to find our own place, but same opportunity came up, but in a little different circumstances. Or like I said, to Susan, it happened. If the circumstances wasn't so bad and not so much stuff, having to be done, and because like I've said on here before, I felt like I was just sitting here watching somebody else on TV. My wife wasn't really getting much out of it, and I wasn't getting much out of it. I just felt like I was sitting here with my hands tied and everything else. I was shackled, or I felt that way. And it's just, I don't want to feel that way. I don't want my wife to feel like, hey, we're just looking across the room at somebody, and this is, like I said, Susan, the Susan one, she probably, like I said, when 10, 15 years passes by and she looks at her life in her 40s versus what she is right now, about 31, she gets in her 40s and she looks at, the area I'm going to get into, maybe by then she'll have understood that it was the best move to make. I should not, without my wife knowing every stitch of thing, I take great responsibility for what happened down here. She didn't know. I tried to tell her and try to be upfront with her, just like she was with me, but she just could not get past the stuff that we needed, to get her mind to where we could get in there and compromise with her on her things. Like I loved her kids, or tried to love her kids. And, the oldest one was the better one. And, she, would try to show me her game and stuff on her little, tablet or whatever it was. And, but the littlest in it is just, I'm gonna see daddy, and I won't do this, and I won't do that. It didn't work. And I know there's gonna be a day when I can't, no longer have this or the function to do what I'm doing right now, and go out and probably do what I'm doing or would like to do for right now, and get out there and get dirty a little bit and get, have this thing take off like I like to. Shoot for bestie deal. But again, it's something that I hope will happen in the next year or so. My wife, she wants it to happen, of course, anytime, and I'm with her. But I know when I was single, it took me 6-7 months at the earliest, the first time and that took me. I was on there night and day looking. I hardly took a break except to go to the bathroom, to eat, and to get what little sleep. But I go to bed late most times, so I could sleep 5-6 hours or whatever and get up still the next day and be fine. But like I said, I go to bed late. But and when you consider what's out here, like I told my wife, a lot of the stuff that's out here is the same thing. It's crack whores. It's people with kids, people with phones up their butt, internet, and some social sites or whatever. If we found it today, tonight, tomorrow, next week, whatever, or somebody saw any videos, if we found it, I wouldn't even think of nothing of social media again. I'd be so thrilled. My wife would be so thrilled that we found one person that liked our stuff, that liked what we were into, that wasn't, overbearing and was easy to get along with, and didn't ask for stuff like cards and all that, and ID pictures on phones and just all that unreasonable bull crap, that a lot of them will do today. So again, there's a lot there that, if somebody reasonably came to us and just, poured their heart out, my wife and I would make sure that we took care of it and that we did what we had to do. And I know in my heart and in my wife's heart, nobody's perfect, but I know if somebody just lay all their stuff down, and I would listen to them, but if they would have enough to comprehend everything and let us take over, let us take control of the situation and make it better, like we tried to do for Susan, not in a bad way, but in the good way. We tried to help her. And like we would like to do for someone else. Like I said, there's a lot that I can do that I don't need a lot of money for. I know what we've got here in this little package, and this deal here, this ring, and is it a total real ring? No. But is it hundreds of dollars? Is it most people that can't afford much? They get a lot cheaper. I remember the first time I bought one of them ladies I met offline, I bought a $10 ring. Or $20, where it was, 10, 20, something like that. This here is almost $900, adding tax and all. It's not much under a 900 if it's not totally 900, but it's close enough. And it's a good ring. And like I said, we put that here in one of the videos the other night. Like I said, it's not always real, but hey, that's a lot, you know. And plus, we've got all kinds of other stuff we'd like to give them, whoever that person might be out there. You know, like I said, somebody in their mid 20s to 30s, if you're out there, somewhere in the neighborhood of, in Decatur or Athens, somewhere close nearby Decatur, Tennessee. So, if you're out there, just hit us up. Text us and send us a picture. Somebody slim to average body type, somebody likes the Braves, wrestling a little bit. Well, I mean, we don't have to do all this stuff or watch all this stuff all the time. Like I said, I could, my wife likes color, she likes art, she likes doing other things, she likes going out, shopping, going to thrift stores, going out and petting the animals. She does like calm kids like I do. I just don't like rowdy kids like she don't. We grew up in the last part of what was left of parents teaching their kids how to actually behave and kids actually following orders. Like I said, if Susan had been that way, had she raised her kids to respect other people's house and their rules and not been such a dipshit about it, and a control freak because I wasn't daddy. Well, she had them call me Uncle Derek and had those kids saying Aunt Jessie, and what for I don't know, because we wasn't Uncle Derek or Aunt Jessie to any of these kids. I mean, my wife was earlier, she made a point. She said, Derek, we got to be grateful for these things that's coming. I don't know if you'd actually say I'd be grateful. I mean, I guess you could say, yeah, I'm grateful that maybe the opportunity afforded itself. But as to the result of how it went and how it ultimately it turned out, no, I'm not grateful. I didn't want it if it didn't have my name or stamp on it. My wife and I's name on it. And I just, and I'm not meaning it in a bad way. I'm just saying, I don't want friends. I don't want no damn, my wife and I don't want no goddamn fucking thing where, we're just a text buddy or a damn, fucking, every once in a while I just come by and see you for 2 or 3 minutes, or 5 minutes, and I'm gone. We want something real, something legit, something for the rest of our lives that we can grow old with and have fun with and do makeup with and hair or whatever, and I'll do anything with I just find women's stuff more fascinating than guys. And like I said, somebody that me and my wife wouldn't have to worry about nothing. Everything don't have to be spot on, perfect. But, I'd like to think that there's somebody out there that could say, hey, I'm homeless, but I know I could be a perfect fit. I know my mind's right. I know my mind's straight. Yeah, maybe I made a few bad choices, but I can actually talk to them and understand that even though they ain't been through those things, they mean well, and their advice is what they would give any person. You know what I'm saying? And it's not like I said, it's not like we hadn't seen this stuff on TV and the news and all this stuff. It's why a lot of times I try not to watch it. I don't make my life about politics. I don't make my life about the news and about what goes on CNN 24/7. I don't promote the Holy Ghost God in the sky 24/7. I don't have time for it. So again, you know, all I know is I go with what brought me to the dance. Am I perfect? Is my wife perfect? No, nobody is. And I'll get on Twitter once in a while. Like I told my wife earlier, maybe we could do that once in a while when we feel up to it. When we've got nothing else to do, we can go on Twitter and Instagram or something, and one of them, and just look up a couple of names, and put a first name in there and see what happens. A lot of these people, they'll promote everything else and kids and their, the Holy Ghost man in the sky that's no longer here, and it's invisible and not legitimately real. There's a lot of people who promote that, and talk about that like that's what they do with about 90% of their day. And so I just go on. I don't argue with them. I don't say nothing. I just tell my wife to skip them. I don't have. I'll respect your religion, but I'm not going to spend 80-90% of my day fucking, doing that and not having a good fun day with somebody. A lot of these people make it sound like that's all they do, and some of them probably do. And that would bore me to death, to tell you the truth, it would bore me to death. And I just tell you, I'm thankful every day this computer lasts as long as it has. It's the longest computer I've had. It's lasted me over a year. So, every day's a plus for this thing. So, I'm grateful for it. And so, hopefully it lasts me 2 or 3 years, hopefully 10 if it can. I don't know. But, I ain't going to say, I ain't going to bet nothing on that. But the fact that it's lasted me a year plus, that's good, and whether we get this or whether we don't, we can always keep the ring that we have left as a keepsake. My wife knows I bought it with my money. It was for her originally, but she had a hard time wearing rings, so she was going to give it to our unicorn bestie anyhow. So, I'm going to play this out for a while. This may be taken up overnight. And again, it may be one of those things where it gets answered. My wife right now, she's at church, but, I don't like church. She don't even hardly like church. She goes just to have something to do. She don't, and it's just this little bitty one down here. It's just right across the road. So I ain't really, and I've already been to it. I know what it's all about. And they've had a couple of pastors since I first went, and I used to like who preached there and all that. A lot of stuff they change, and I just don't like. I don't like the way it's run. It's it's point my fingers at you kind of thing, and all, and I just hate that. Kind of stuff. I just don't like the way that stuff's run or how it's done. But it's getting too hot to be outside, and too hot really to be with all of my wife and I's stuff and the medicines we're on. It's really, and for anybody really, even if you're not handicapped like we are, it's too hot to be outside. You'll have a heat stroke, or you'll have something bad will happen to you most likely out there. I don't know how I did it a couple of years ago. I'd start out here walking, that sweat be pouring off of me. And I didn't never felt like I was going to pass out, but I don't know how in the world I did it. The other day, my wife walked out there by herself. And she walked up there, got the groceries, was on her way back home, and I think she got close to being about right down here, right at almost right to our driveway or close by our driveway. and started feeling like she's gonna throw up. I think she did throw up. So she called 911, and luckily she had a phone with her. But she's fine now. But I told her, I said, "Well, don't do that anymore." I said, let me call Santa and let me set up, some stuff. But yeah, no, I take full responsibility for any. I mean, partly my wife went with. I mean, she's asked me a lot of this stuff. A lot of this, it came down here because I okayed it. She would ask me, and a lot of times I okay, and like I said, I'm not a big people person. I'm not a big fan of it, having a bunch of people around me. But if it was somebody's family or a couple of friends, and they didn't just throw them all up my face, do like the crack horse Susan Dill did, and make it feel like that's all that she cares about, and that's pretty well what she did, and it showed. I mean, she tried to tell you different, but that's I'm just telling you what my eyes saw, my ears heard, and if she didn't want things to go down the way they went down, well, she should have treated me like her dad and her mom or something, or somebody in her family. She should have thought better of what she did. I mean, if she hadn't done what she did, she probably still have me and my wife in her life. I mean, she wasn't hard to please on giving her stuff. She that much she was fine with. It's just like I said, you meet some of these people like that, and they start talking about all this stuff about how they've been mistreated, how they've been hurt, raped, whole 9 yards, and that whole deal. It's like one of these goddamn Steve Wilkos shows or something. Some people, like my wife, will bring something up, and we can sit here and talk about it for hours and it not get into a fuss or a yelling, screaming match. She can tell me anything that she's been through, but she'll sit there and she'll do the one thing that a lot of people like you guys won't do, and that's actually listen to somebody. You always think that just because somebody hadn't been put through that they don't know what they're talking about, when they're actually trying to tell you what they would have done if they were in that situation, and they would tell you what to do. That's what you wanted. Otherwise, you wouldn't bring it up. But the problem is, it's a lot of people, is they already got their mind made up, and they're hoping that you go with the way or that you'll sugarcoat it, or, whatever, so it won't hurt their feelings. Like, that's why a lot of people won't go to church or to a lot of that stuff, either because they're afraid they're going to get their feelings hurt, or the subject matter is going to be too high, turned up, or that, like I said, just for the simple fact that I don't believe God's real anyway. I mean, I don't see no real pictures of him, no real biography of him. It's just all that Bible is a bunch of hot garbage. I mean, there's a few things in it you could probably point out as being true, but like I said, it's just a lot of it's just not up to my standard. It ain't like going out here and get one of these people's books, his biographies off the shelves, and having known that these people had somebody to write that book and get their okay to do so, or they wrote it themselves and put their stamp of approval on it. So again, I'm who I am. My wife's who she is. But, if you had a different belief than us, we're not going to kill you over it. We'll make compromises wherever, because we know, like I said, you're not going to probably, the person that comes to us is probably going to have 85, 90% of our stuff in common with us. But there's going to be a few things that we're going to have to compromise on. We're going to have to find ways to get around. And it's just how it's going to have to be, you know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, that's life, But, I'm not going to have, one thing I'm not going to allow to happen is, another person staying a whole bunch of nights. you want to stay maybe 1 or 2 nights or something and go home afterwards, okay. And if we, our unicorn bestie gets to where she's capable of actually after a few months or something, and she gets to know us, if she has the ability to move us from here into her place, or we have to find another place, and she's willing to do that and make the commitment that we hope that we get from somebody one of these days, okay, and we'll do that. But like I said, there's a lot of stuff, that a lot of people have to understand about us. Why we don't drive, why we're not working, why we're in the situations we're in, and understand them from our point of view, not just come up in here like crack horse Susan did and try to run us over with all her BS. I told my wife, I said, it's one thing, I'll always have her as an example, and I'll always look back, and whether she knows this or she don't, or whether she's too afraid to admit it or not, she really taught a lesson. And I know I taught her a lesson. And I taught her the lesson that don't ever put yourself on nobody else. Don't force your own kids down someone else's throat. And I hope that she takes to heart what I tried to teach her about having her goddamn fucking dad, her kid's dad, not her own dad, but her kid's dad in her own kid's life. And she's dumb enough to sit there and text the fucking fool after she claims she's the one who's been raped by that guy. And she's crazy enough to do that and all that and forgive him and all that crazy crap. Well, then she ought to never again let that 3-year-old, all right, I don't know. I guess the 3-year-old was the one he had. I guess there was another guy that had the oldest. But, the 8-year-old didn't seem like she was bothered too bad. I never heard daddy or nothing, but that's what I'm saying. I didn't have anything on these people. I didn't know them, and everything felt rushed. At first I was okay with it. When you think about it, when you first looked at it, it felt right, it felt good, and everything was fine. If everything stayed the way it should have been the first couple of nights. If it stayed on that track and it never, and like I said, kids or no kids, I would have tried to get along with them. I still tried. Like I said, I can only say that here. I can't prove it to you because nobody else was here but me and my wife. But it was a lesson. And then, like I said, if you're somebody out there who's got a big heart like me and my wife does, and you really want to throw your hand out there and help somebody, make sure that you know what you're getting into. Make sure that you ask all the tough questions. You may be different from me. You may like a pot smoker. You may like, somebody who drinks and does all that. I don't. I prefer them to be without all that stuff. It's a waste of money and it hurts your body as it is. But anyway, there's different people for, different things. And that's why I said, I'm thankful for what I do got. 11 subscribers on my YouTube channel. That's not bad considering, it could be 12, 13 tomorrow, But 11's pretty good, hell. There might be some people, man, woman, whoever they are, might agree with my stuff. That might be why they came on here. Cornet stuff, whatever. But whatever your reason is, hopefully you like a couple things. I don't do a lot. Mainly I just do, me and my wife will do a video once in a while or a couple of videos. Try to just about every day or something to kind of update our day. If something changes, like on our Unicorn Bestie thing, we'll update it. Oh, he cut. But you know, so far right now, the unicorn thing's still open to any lady out there. So it's not nothing's changed on that. So anyway, uh, but you know, we'll see you soon. All right. And if you're out there, girl, just come on. Don't be afraid. Uh, Call us. Why not? Oh, wait a minute. Text us first. Text us and send a picture first, so we'll know it's you. So if you saw this video, text us first with a picture. And like I said, I suggest you be somewhere no more than 30 minutes away from us, somewhere between Athens and Decatur, Tennessee, since we live in Decatur, Tennessee. And my wife said there'd been a few at the. I want to make mention before I get off here. She said that there'd been one or two of them come up to her in Decatur and say they don't know where 182 Brown Street is. When I'll give a pretty good, accurate description of what was next to it and all this stuff. And I'm not good with directions, but you know, Goodfield Road is the road that we're on. There's a lot of different ways to get to our house. There's like 4 or 5 different ways you can go. If anybody's familiar from anywhere in Decatur to Athens, you might know of the new Highway 30 that was just built. So it's a little bit different from what it used to be when I first moved up here. And but the new Highway 30 uh, takes you out. Me and my wife's walked it. Takes you out here, and you go by a couple of houses. There's a couple of houses. There's a street. I don't know. I forget the name of the street, but there's a street. But basically, it takes you all the way out there, and the new Highway 30 takes you on all the way out down. If you walk that whole piece, it'll take you out downtown. Everything around here is just basically a circle, but the easiest way to tell you is if you got a GPS, you know, just look out for, if you're coming from Athens, just put Goodfield Road in, and when you see this, if you put in 182 Brown Street, for example, if you put in 182 Brown Street and all that, Lot 1A, KFC, yada, 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 you put all that in there, which is our address. You put all that in there. All you got to do is turn in this little driveway. It's got an orange trash can. It's K&N Disposal Trash Services. It's in white letters. We got it down there. It's where the trash people pick up our garbage now. They no longer drive up this driveway. They don't have insurance on their vehicles anymore. But there's a 5 Point Baptist Church right before you get here. There's Stevenson Square Apartments right here next to us. And they're right up above us. There's 2 black mailboxes. There used to be an old trailer with a bunch of them, drug addicts in it, but they no longer socialize around here. I pretty much put a stop to all that. I ran them off pretty much. I ain't heard nothing from them in almost over a year now. So I think they're staying put and wherever their spot is, I hope they stay there. But anyway, if you drive up here if you have a car and you drive, well, it's drivable. But we're apartment A. There'll be like a silver A, a capital A on our door. And like I said, we have a neighbor next door, but don't go to his. His is B. But just the first apartment you see, just come to it. It'll have a little concrete thing there where you can step up onto the porch. But we'll have a couch, an old looking couch sitting out there. It's an old couch that we couldn't use anymore, and we can't get anybody to take off. But it's sitting out there, right out here. We've got a curtain hanging up in our window. I'm gonna gotta tack it back up, nail it back up, because I was trying to find something to cover up the windows so people just couldn't look in at night and peek through. But I'm gonna have to get to it one day and try to fix it. But anyway, um, so hopefully that kind of clears up any confusion. Our biggest stuff in Decatur, Tennessee, is the Piggly Wiggly grocery store. Like I said, we're right near everything pretty much. I mean, we're about probably a mile and a half or so from town. If you take this road all the way out, and walked it. Now, if you're walking, you just come up to the driveway, and you won't need a GPS. But if you're close enough by it, you know where all this is at. Like I said, if you want to reassure everything, just text our numbers. I'm Derek. My number is 423-615-3020. My wife's name is Jessica. Her number is 423-635-2965. And so, like I said, if you need some reassurance, we'll take pictures of the road and try to help you. If you're not really familiar with this area real good. So anyway, and if somebody was to bring you, if you text us and said, hey, would you pay some money to bring me up here, I would jot their name down and shake their hand and tell them, say, hey, first of the month, when me and my wife gets our checks or something, I'll pay them $30 or whatever, $25, $30, whatever it is. A little sum for bringing you up here, because like I said, I don't want you too far out. I don't want you over 30 minutes away, because I'm not doing. My wife and I ain't doing cards or any of that stuff. I get so many of them kind of people on this stuff nowadays. That's why I hate about the internet. From just 12 years ago, I was able to find somebody, and I was still single then. And all you had to do was just write your stuff out and everything else. But now everybody's playing code games and all this stuff. And they seem like they're not themselves, or you get somebody far out and they think they're owed gas money. Well, Lord, I can't help it if you're in New York or California. I had one come the other night and tried to lie on me, saying I didn't tell him that me and my wife was married, and I told him everything. I showed her. She only took the first couple of things where I hadn't really started talking to her. I was just introducing myself. I know that's what happened, even though I didn't see what she took. My wife read the rest of it, and she said she didn't take that part. And I said, yeah, she didn't want you to know that part. But anyway, if anytime our computer ever goes out or acts up, these videos will still be on there, and I'm sure it'll go out before I reach 40. I'm 30. I'm gonna be 38 coming up June 6th. So you got to June 6th of 2024. That's how long this offer is good for, and that we're going to keep it up. So. If you've not found us by then, we're probably going to just take it down. Because we've been going at it for almost 5 years. If there's somebody out there with a good heart that knows knows us or don't know us, but has someone in mind, and it's, knows, or one of our subscribers was to be nice enough, we'll be nice enough to tell you thank you. If there was to be somebody, if you want to help us out, you're more than welcome to. We'll appreciate it. You don't have to, but I'm just saying, if there's somebody out there that knows of somebody that's easygoing and don't have a lot on their plate and that would like this offer, and it's generally an easygoing person and ain't into a lot of trouble and ain't, and everything, and it would be a perfect fit. Why, just give them this video, pass it around, uh, tell them about it. I mean, my wife wants you to tell them about it. Uh, we want this thing to end as quick as possible. We also watch videos and stuff out on here, listen to Jim Cornette and everything too. So, like I said, it ain't all bad. But anyway, uh, you know, just make sure that, and if for some reason another that something changes, I will try to come out here. My wife will, and we'll let you know if something changes on anything and that regards this offer or anything. But we plan on to keep it up till 2024 at least. Give it enough time. It just takes a while, but I'm gonna give it till then because we've been, like I said, I don't want to make my wife wait till she's 55, 60 years old, and I'm, a lot older. I want to do something while I still can and get out there and experience, get to go to a couple places. If our bestie took us out, we'd pay her gas and, get her a meal, and then she'd get us one or something like that, pay each other back accordingly, have something like that, where she'd be able to know, hey, I can trust these people. These are like my stepdad and stepmom or whatever she wants to call us. But like I said, hopefully somebody comes soon. And we're not about race or any of that stuff and all that. If they're black, they're black. If they're white, they're white. If they're mixed, they're mixed. We'll take however you come, okay? But if you're out there, my wife wants to tell you we love you, and we'll see you soon, sweetheart. Bye.